9 a.m. until 1 p.m. Proxy forms will also be available for those that need to pick up for others. For more information, call Circle Friends at 724-846-1959.
Local news, local topics, local conversation. You're listening to AM Beaver County on 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and 1460 WMVA. Presented by St. Barnabas and streaming live at beavercountyradio.com.
And we're back here on this Tuesday morning edition of AM Beaver County. And now joining me in studio for the first time, and it seems like quite a bit of time, at least a couple months, is Beaver Falls Mayor Kenya Johns. And Mayor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Matt. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing quite all right. And one thing I want to get off right away is that this is the first time we've met since I've started regularly coming to some of the Beaver Falls council meetings.
What do you think about it?
I think that they are very smooth. I think that they are rather swift, and I think that they're very involved because even not every night, but some nights you're going to get at least somebody bringing up a topic of interest or bringing up something that they feel is important to the community, and that kind of thing, mixed with the smoothness of the way that everybody on council works, does provide a great balance of both working on things and also making sure things go as smoothly as possible.
Well, thank you. That's kind of the goal. One of the biggest things is making sure that people feel informed and heard, and not just like, oh, we hear what you're saying, but we don't really hear. But we want to make sure that people understand why we're making the decisions we do and the way that we do it, so that they know that we are there to represent them, because we are.
Yes, and not only that, but it's very informative for those who may not know what's going on in their community, because a lot of people say, what's going on in Beaver Falls? What exactly is taking place? And anyone who goes to these meetings will find out that there's quite a bit going on. It may not all be at once. It may not be this revolutionary type of turnover, but there are, properties being purchased and grants coming in for different parts of the community. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, and we're really trying. Rome wasn't built overnight, and our community didn't get to where it is overnight, so it's going to take time and the commitment from the residents. And I think for a lot of people, initially, it was not understanding the way government worked, right? Mm-hmm. We know government can be a little confusing sometimes, and a lot of times there's a lot of extra layers that people don't understand, because if you're not in government, you don't understand why there's 47 steps to get one thing done.
Mm-hmm.
So really wanted to make sure that people feel empowered and informed, so that they know we're not hearing you. It's just sometimes it takes a little bit longer, and this is why. And I think people can understand when you help them understand why things are happening.
Yes, and part of that understanding, and when we talk about a lot when dealing with chambers of commerce or borough councils, that a lot of times part of that organization is making sure that if somebody doesn't have the answer, they at least have the answer to who does have the answer, that they'll be able to be like, okay, I'm not sure what the answer to that is, but I know someone who will probably have a better understanding of this than I do. And that happens quite a lot during the meetings too, because they may not be sure what's going on as well.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's the most effective form of leadership, though, too. I think good leaders surround themselves with great leaders, so that they are the best in their field to do the things that they're doing. And we have a great team at the city, and everyone is the best that they can be in their position. And it makes it easier for us to be able to do things and move through that. And, everyone can't know everything, and we really shouldn't. That's why we have great people to do this work, to be able to be one strong team. Can you imagine, Matt, having to run everything in this office by yourself?
No, I could not imagine that. I mean, it takes a team to make everything flow smoothly. And speaking of the team, one member of your team on the city council was recently recognized. I got to bring this up. Paula Durish, the city clerk, 45 years.
It's amazing.
It is amazing that, because a lot of times you hear today about, someone doesn't want to, stay at this place and nobody wants to work. And, for someone to stay in that position for 45 years, it is quite incredible.
Yeah. And even actually tonight, Well, we have two more people that have been there for 45 years. That's just a testament to the commitment that people have to the city of Beaver Falls, because it's a great place to live and work. I mean, you went to school here, you grew up here.
Yep.
Like, it's a beautiful place with beautiful people. And when you get the right people here in a space where they feel like they can add, they want to stay and they want to be here. That's why so many businesses, when they come, they're not just up and leaving. They plant a flagship here.
Exactly. And on top of that, the council, with its blend of experience and sort of trying to blend tradition with the future, it does sort of share that vision of wanting to keep the city beautiful and to improve on, areas where it may not quite be as such, because again, nobody's perfect, no city's perfect.
Right.
And again, the smoothness and the cooperation of everybody, it all just blends together in just this seamless sort of transition. And again, if the people want to be part of that, they can be.
Mm-hmm.
And while there has been an increased activity over the course of the last year or so, there's still sort of that notion of is everybody getting involved? Is everybody participating? And is there a disconnect that sort of leads from one to the other as far as the community participating?
So I think that, of course, there is. And I think that responsibility lies on me as the mayor and on the council and those that represent the city residents to help bridge that, right?
Mm.
The distrust, the disconnection, all of that's been years in the making, build up of people feel like they're not being heard or validated or not knowing exactly where they're supposed to be, right? So it's about us showing that consistency. Like, hey, we're not just doing this to flash in the pan because we just got reelected. Like, no, this is who we are. This is the work that we want to do, and this is how we want Beaver Falls to move forward. And we're just going to build on that. And I'm a firm believer that if you keep moving a train along, people are going to get on board, right?
Mm-hmm. You got to prove that train's moving forward, and that's exactly what you guys are trying to do. So with that being said, of course, we're now heading into fall. Summer's winding down, and we're heading into the cooler months, heading into the dreaded winter months, but we'll get there.
I love winter, Matt.
Oh, well, I mean, hey, it looks nice for a couple of days, and then, as all the snow mixes with the road, it doesn't quite look the same, but that's, just a natural part of life. All that being said, there are some events coming up in the city that are coming up soon, including one towards the end of November, which you guys are already starting to plan for. But what are some of the ones that are immediately coming up over the course of the next couple of weeks?
So right now, one of the biggest things I do want to talk about is Neighborhood North is having a fundraiser for the community, right? And when I say community, I don't mean just Beaver Falls, because Neighborhood North serves the entire community, all of Beaver County and all of its neighboring cities as well. And they're having a fundraiser to help purchase indoor playground equipment. So when you bring up the winter months, I would be remiss to not talk about how that's so big, and not big from the standpoint of the city being involved, but big in the standpoint that we want people to be involved, right? We want people to take ownership. So whether that means donating $5 to the fund to help get indoor playground equipment, or coming to the event on the 20th at 6 p.m. at Neighborhood North in Beaver Falls, whatever it is, sharing the flyer, whatever it is, we want this to be a community effort. We want people to see that we are a community, right? That we really do care about our neighbors. And we might not all have $500 or $1,000 to donate, but if we have $5, we can do that. Or if we have the ability to share on social media, so someone else that has $5 might be able to share. We really want that. We really want the community to show up for that. So that's one big event for sure that I wanted to mention.
Yeah, and the old adage goes, if you give one person with $500 and 500 people with $1, they have the same amount of money. So participation is key in that situation. And it's good to know, because like you say, and I know I've talked to Christine before about it, Christine Kroger from Neighborhood North, that even though it's in Beaver Falls, it's not just about Beaver Falls. It's about bringing together Beaver County for the sake of, giving children something to do and gathering them together to have fun and, learn together. And that's something, too, that I know you've been working on in the past as mayor, is this idea of working together with other communities to build a better county, and not just trying to build the city back to a better stance. And granted, there's elements of both in that you're doing, but it's a matter of trying to balance the two at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Because if my residents, they're not going to just be in Beaver Falls, right?
Right.
They're going to need to travel the bridges to go to other places, whether they're going out to eat or to the doctors or And although we have those fantastic things here, other people have needs outside the city as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm strengthening and we're working together to strengthen our entire community, it benefits us, right?
Yeah.
And that's my goal, is to make sure that we're benefiting the citizens of Beaver Falls in the best way that we can. Also by sharing resources. We don't have many resources in our county. Funding's limited, and we do the best that we can with what we have. But if we can share resources and work with our neighbors, why won't we?
That's a very good point. If you live here and you live within Beaver County, and like you say, even if people go to other places, in and around Beaver County, they're going to be seeing the same situation elsewhere, where some places may look nice, but other places may not have the proper funding or have the proper decor, whatever the case may be. That they need help just as much as anybody else, and that is a point where citizens sort of have to do their part a little bit to help out. I mean, the councils in each area do have their own weight to bear, but the citizens do too, because they live here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't move anything without the citizens being involved. There might be this big misnomer. There's a lot that we can't get done, because there's absolutely a lot that we can get done and maybe do things better, to be quite honest. But a lot of that is also on our citizens, right? Because the government is limited. We need that citizens ownership. Like I said, the neighborhood north thing, like their funding is limited, but if we all pitch in a few dollars, our kids have something to do in the wintertime. And I think we really do a bad service of that, of complaining about what our children are doing, or the opportunities for our children, but not providing them for the children, right? Because they can't provide them for themselves.
Very good point. That's an excellent point, that we do care a lot about the children, and so much so that I've seen times where everybody's involved, but the first thing they mention is the children. So that's the element to how much people care. And if that's the case, then, sort of put your money where your mouth is, so to speak.
You said it, Matt, not me.
I know I said it. I do a talk show. I understand what I'm getting myself into, and I fully am aware of that. Speaking of things doing in the wintertime, I do have to bring this up because we are getting close to it.
Okay.
The Beaver Falls Christmas Parade. I know you guys have already been talking about it a couple times, and you guys have at least one meeting for organization of that so far. What's the latest on that?
The latest is it is moving, and I am incredibly honored to be able to be a part of the planning committee, and just seeing all the wonderful people that have already been there for years, and then the new ideas and fresh ideas. We really want to take this to the next level, Matt. We really want the community to participate and take ownage of this parade, because us growing up, because Matt, I don't know if you guys know, but Matt and I graduated together.
We did.
You remember how the parade was? You were in band,
I
going
do.
down the streets, it meant something. And having that pride in the city, and seeing all the beautiful floats and parades, we don't want to bring it back. We want to reinvent it.
Yeah.
Right. We want to take all of the elements of what we've done in the past that has been beautiful and amazing, and also have a future focus on that by having different partners come in and participate in the parade. And I'm excited to see what WVP does in the parade.
That's true.
So what are your thoughts on participating in the parade?
I think, I think it's going to be a great parade as always. And I do like the fact that you are sort of reiterating some of the things we've been talking about this morning, as far as, sort of reinventing things and bringing, not necessarily bringing the entirety of what it once was, but making something new that will create the pride that once was, because that is key. That is key. Because you're absolutely right. Back in the day,
we're not that old, so there's no back in the day, Matt.
Well, it's been last time I marched in that parade, it's been about 12 years. But the point is that you're right. The parades drew those crowds. Everybody gathered together, and it was an event. It meant something, and it had a lot of pride. And you talk about giving back to community. What better way to do that is to participate in one of the biggest events for the community all year, for the city all year, is that parade. Because, it's an event that, people sort of mark on the calendar. Okay, the Christmas parade is happening. Now we're heading into the Christmas season. And that's the kind of importance that, should bring a community together. So I'm very interested to see what sort of, like you say, new ideas are coming to the forefront, because, like you said, it's about taking the good, keeping the good, and then improving what could be better.
Yeah, absolutely. And also really just letting people know that, we're here. We care about these things, and we want enjoyment. We want the magic that the Christmas season brings, because, Christmas can feel magical for sure.
Mhm.
Whether you believe in Christmas or not, it's about the season and what hope it can bring and
Yes.
inspire. And that's really what the goal is just to inspire.
So if anybody is interested in participating for this parade, how can they do so?
So you can actually directly reach out to. There's an email address on our Facebook page. It has the list of all the communication. I think it's Beaver Falls. I don't have the email address off top by heart, so I do apologize for that. But if you reach out to our city clerk, Ms. Paula Durish at the city, she can definitely get you the email address to participate. And we're really excited. And we want people. And we want you, if you have a business here, you work here, you frequent here, like we want you to feel like you can come have a parade, come to the parade, have a float, buy a lamppost, do whatever you can to help participate so that we can really bring the magic back to the city, but our surrounding community as well.
Yes, and then that's the whole point, is to have that community, have that all together, because that's what this season is all about, and that's what the parade is all about. And we will have a link to that later on when we post this interview to beavercountyradio.com. But
Thank
Mayor,
you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I mean, because again, we're part of it too. We've been part of it for many years. So, Mayor, thank you so much for stopping by this morning to talk about that with us, and we'll talk to you again sometime, and probably closer to when the parade is, and find out some more details about what's coming up. So,
all right, thanks, Matt. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Mayor Kenya Johns of Beaver Falls joining me this morning on AM Beaver County. News is next here on Beaver County Radio.
For an entrepreneur, life and business go